Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 332 in the NOFODcast. Did y'all hear my cut from the Games of the Year episode?
Yeah, I got it downloaded. I haven't gotten to it yet.
Did pretty well.
It's on my list.
And I remember to update the episode title on here.
It's on my list.
Your list. Yeah, this game is on pre-May. Who's going to win this one? This one should be a good battle, right? Except Steelers aren't playing
AFC
too well.
North Hard Knocks episode, right? It's like what they can dream up for this whole season.
Mm-hmm. Subtitles are off. Why am I getting subtitles? Usually I don't care, but... Yeah, so I played Resistance earlier today for like an hour and a half. We'll do our show, and then if we stream some Halo or whatever it is we want to get into, we're going to have like 6 hours of content on this shit today.
Whatever the group wants to get into.
Yeah. Renee is here. Hello, Renee. Mermy's here. Hello, Mermy.
The real question is if we had enough people... pick your poison. Which poison would you choose? Would you choose Warzone or would you choose Big Team Battle and Halo?
Big Team Battle. Big Team Battle.
Okay, all right. No contest.
It may suck, right? I'm not gonna say it's not gonna suck, but I will have way more fun with the suck than I would in Warzone.
I still think we need to revisit PUBG at some point.
Yes, I'm also willing to jump back into that. Renee put in the chat hand pink waving. I'm not sure what that is. Is that like
he's got his gloves on.
The JSON code is coming through instead.
I don't know, man. I don't like to call Renee out, man, but whatever he did in that bathroom earlier, they will have a Geneva Convention Accords because of it.
Oh God.
I had to go downstairs and use the restroom down there. So.
Oh, the pink thing is for your ambiance, I think. That's what he's getting at. I bet that's what it is.
I'm calling him out though.
Damn. Still, Renee's catching stray bullets, targeted bullets.
Stray bullets, yeah. Sorry, Renee. At least this part is not recorded on the podcast.
No, this is just for our live, just for our live friends.
Oh no.
Light news, Brant. Did you take out one of the stories? I feel like there was more.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Oh, right to a VGC ad.
Oh shit.
Dig site. Is the dig site people, are they legit or are they I guess I could ask this on the show. Y'all ready to get into it?
It's born ready.
Just hit record. All I have to do is hit record.
Jesus. This thing started.
I enjoyed the Game of the Year episode where we just it was just nonstop games. That part was fun.
It's always sad when you got to talk about news.
News is good. News is important. I've been told specifically people come to us for news, so I feel like that's a constant.
Or news? Which one?
Both. We're here to happily provide both. We're down for anything in this show.
I see your new Super Mario backdrop to cover the TV shame behind you.
Well, it was reflecting. I saw in last week's episode, and I was wearing shorts, and it was like a pale ass spider was sitting over here in this chair, and I was like, let me grab something and throw over this reflection.
You're like that guy that's taking photos of reflective items and putting them on eBay, and we're getting way too much of what we needed to see.
Yep, that's it. Here's me innocently taking a bath, but here's the reflection of the down spigot.
My favorite one was that one where they did the PlayStation Remote Play. That one was the guy was clearly sitting on the toilet as he took a photo on Facebook Marketplace using it.
Oh yeah, somebody's like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna go for this one. Lightly used.
Like, he sees his bare legs and his pants down. The photo of the portal
being played on the commode.
On the commode, and was trying to sell it. It's pretty lit.
In his defense, if you remember, that's how they marketed the wave bird. Like somebody was sitting on the toilet with a wave bird, watching through a mirror. Like they had a mirror on the bathroom door. They were playing, Metroid Prime. I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That was that advertisement.
It's that advert,
wave bird. Yeah, not the potential
somebody trying to sell
wave bird that I can have. I mean, we all assume that poo particles will be on things that we buy, but we don't want confirmation, right?
Whoa. I try to wipe all my things down and eliminate the poo particles.
Particles everywhere.
Anti-poo particles. I gotta shift our logo and move some stuff around. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 332 of the NOFODcast. We are No Outside Food or Drink, the Southeast premier video games and poo particle podcast. That's 3 P's for your listening pleasure.
Yeah.
Brant, where's your favorite place to purchase poo particles off of an item?
Poo particles?
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Oh, Jesus.
Trying to avoid
what's
the
your order?
Cost.
Yes,
you're going with the Wendy's? Is that what you're
Wendy's, what's your order?
with?
We don't wash our hands.
Sir, the chili always looks like that. I'm slightly indifferent.
That's a finger in it.
Oh God. That was always like an urban myth, right?
I don't even remember.
Kind of indifferent to this to a certain regard. Like I don't want to know that it's a known quantity, but my industry used to be poo particles and the close proximity of such. So much to where they came up through vapor of sorts and would run across my pant leg from time to time. Not my poo particles, by the way, but that was just the nature of the beast. Oh
gosh.
I mean, you're close proximity to it in that previous line of work, right?
Yes, yeah. I won't say you become desensitized, but it becomes way less of an issue than it normally would be for a regular passerby.
I guess you would stop thinking about it after a certain point.
I mean, your body adjusts, right? I mean, smell-wise, right?
There are worse smells than there are worse smells in that line of work than just poo. Also, there's a grease accumulation that smells way worse. Yeah, if you ever get a whiff of that,
food accumulation is always bad, right? Yeah, it's like degrading and stuck and
grease traps. Like if you go through a drive-through and you can smell like just a funk. That grease trap is bad. That's to me is a worse smell than any of that other stuff. All right, bad smells. I didn't know we'd get off to this start.
Yeah, it's horrible. We should continue to go forward away from this.
In tonight's
tune
news.
Tune in for our Bad Smells podcast after the show.
Are we all going to make a scratch and sniff stickers and send them out to our viewers so they can enjoy it?
Didn't somebody do that as an ad campaign? Like it was just a stinky thing that. I mean,
Xbox controller with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pizza smell, right?
That's one of them.
The pizza diffuser.
Yeah, and there's the jelly beans that took that Harry Potter jelly bean and made it a real thing.
And I'm sure there's maybe Brant has one for the Sony at CES because there was that smell feature they were throwing around at CES for the Sony controllers.
Oh gosh, yeah, they were talking about that.
It was a concept. It's not something they're actually making. It's just like a concept. Like, oh, we could do this, but I mean,
you ever wanted to smell the strip club in GTA?
But it's like that Matthew McConaughey Uber commercial, right? Where it's like the NFL's trying to sell you food, right?
Yeah. What are you eating over there, Jerry?
Jerry's eating rice.
Having just played a considerable amount of Resistance 2, and they're like these nasty egg sack, gross, like converted human chimera things, I would absolutely turn that feature off on my controller. That would be a no-go.
I would throw that controller away.
I feel like they just did this with PC and they sent them out to influencers and stuff. Like, didn't Gersman get a hold of one? I'm not calling Jeff Gersman an influencer, but like they sent it to press and influencers.
Yeah, I don't recall because I think stuff like that does not interest me.
That's not a level of immersion.
Unless it's used for humor, which I mean I would associate with like Gertzman or the previous Giant Bomb cast, because that would be funny. Because I was like I mentioned before, and I was talking with Richard earlier this week that I was watching Nextlander play Helldivers, and it's like watching those guys play something like that is always hilarious. So
I miss their stuff. Is it still just Vinny Brad and Alex.
Brad. Yes.
It's just
I
the
think
three
they
of
had
them.
not Will Smith on the Helldivers one. He
Oh,
was
okay.
The one you would considered would be the friend of the show, Russell, because he was like level 80 and was telling people what to
God
use.
dang.
So it's like it was one of those ones like, yeah, use this and use that. He knew what to. I mean, that's why I was kind of watching it. It's like, oh, I can use this gun
Oh,
on
like
there.
a
It's like
good
he's kind
guide.
of like directing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, if you use this, see what happens here. So
Last time I played with you guys, we had that lower level guy like trying to explain stuff to us. You remember that dude?
yeah, but he might have just
moldy
joined just to get
cheese or
into-
something.
I don't know, man. It's government cheese. There was a lot of cheese-based names that we come across in the recent 6 months.
Government cheese.
It's interesting. So
I think it was. It was still fun. They weren't like they were cool about it, and you could hear their kid in the background. So they were just trying to get in some game time. That was neat. I never mind when like you hear if somebody's in a domestic dispute or something. That's you don't want the party chat to include that, but like this guy's baby was just like coming to check on him and stuff, and that was fine.
that I'm cool with. That doesn't
Yeah,
bother
he
me.
was getting
What
in
bothers
game
me is
time.
when was people doing like their speakers turned to 100% and playing music. It's non-stop.
Mm-hmm.
Or
What was it you showed me that Apple Music integration I turned on? Was it Helldivers? I was like, at last, I'm gonna.
no, it was PUBG because
It was
you're like, there's
PUBG.
no music. And I was like,
Yeah.
just do what I do. Just turn on Apple Music, just
Ah.
lower down the game audio mix, and I just usually have this music going in the background with stuff like that where it has a low ambiance, and I don't need to particularly
PUBG.
have to worry about hearing somebody from far away coming through.
It
So
was so quiet. There was so much like silence in between the. Was that 2
Goofy
weeks
beat.
ago we did that, or 3 weeks ago we did that?
about a month ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Time flies,
Might
but
need
it's
to
been
check
about a
back in.
month.
Yeah. All right, tonight's news. Haven't even introduced everybody. Massive Halo leak? Question mark. Sony at CES. I think
Question mark.
Cesar might have spoiled some of that stuff already. Question mark. Let's see those classic IPs.
Question mark.
PlayStation Essential games?
Question mark.
Game Pass games.
Exclamation
Point. Richard Ledbetter of Digital Foundry. I think he founded Digital Foundry, or at least spun up all their stuff from Eurogamer. Like I was reading his articles way back in the day. Do what?
Is he related to Yellow Ledbetter?
He's not, unless that's a British contingency of the same family line. But he always reads exclamation point when people write in letters. I guess it's just a very specific, like he's recognizing the typography or something. I don't know how you would term that, but he reads the punctuation in there.
I imagine you would do it like exclamation point always tries to bring like attention gathering.
Yeah.
So it's like it's always like counteractive to just read that out exclamation point.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, all right, I'm being over the top. That's just my take on it.
Like
but
he has to read that as what the reader sent in.
yeah, like it was super important! Exclamation point.
Speaking of super importance, I'm one of your hosts, Richard Bergman, joined tonight by Newsmaster Brant McKee.
What's up?
Hey, Brant, go Brant, let's go Brant.
Brant built the news. He took 2 weeks off, slacker.
Yeah.
And our resident page master and lore master, Cesar Concepcion II.
Hello.
Cesar, welcome. You also took 2
here.
weeks off.
I know, man. I was a lazy bastard. I apologize, everybody, for my selfishness and for taking those 2 weeks off and forcing you guys to take it with me. So
You can make up for it with dramatic reading of this week's Game Pass games.
I can't even joke that Richard took 2 weeks off because he regularly streamed throughout those 2 weeks. So no shit could be thrown at his way.
Enjoying
so.
it. I'm really enjoying the streaming. It's a
It's
pretty
a
good
good
time.
time.
I didn't
Yeah.
know I was gonna enjoy it as much, and it really is fun. And I'm playing the games I've been wanting to play, and it's like it drives me to keep going with those. So it is a good time. We'll touch on that with games played. Let's dive into this news. Massive Halo leak. This comes from VideoGamesChronicle.com and Andy Robinson. Over 25 years of classic Halo content has leaked online. I haven't checked out any of this stuff, by the way. Have you guys?
Not yet.
Mm-mm,
I've
not
seen the
yet.
announcement, but I have not actually gone look at it.
Over
Not that I
25.
would know anything from it because I have yet to beat Halo 1. So I think it's just a lot of that in here.
You need to
so.
drop back in there. We'll be playing that on Switch too, apparently. Or maybe PS5.
PS5.
I would rather play on PS5, I think.
I also would like to play on PS5.
The leaked content appears to have originated from a Halo Studios collaboration with fan modders, which aim to restore cut content from past Halo titles, including the Halo 2 E3 2003 demo release last month. The mod team Dixite has been working with 343 since last summer, allegedly for no pay. Interesting.
So sucks.
Yeah. to restore content, including multiplayer maps originally developed for the PC port of Halo Combat Evolved, and cut content from classic Halo games. Remember that PC port of Halo Combat Evolved was one of Gearbox's first big successes, and put them on the map.
The Halo 2 one's still locked behind that Games for Windows, right outside of that. Master Chief
It's got a big Vista. Yeah. It's got a big Vista logo on it. I have a copy of that. Believe it or not, I've got a hard copy of that I found somewhere. That'd be.
Was that a Bungie port? Did they go away from Gearbox in that one? I don't want to.
I want to say so, and I can check on the box. Just remind me, because now I want to know too.
Right.
I don't think that was a Gearbox special. Perhaps most significantly, the long-lost Macworld demo from 1999 was planned to be restored for Halo the Master Chief Collection. Prior to landing on Microsoft's first Xbox, Halo was at one point planned to be a third-person exclusive for Mac. How do you play this? Link to download in reply. Interesting. This is somebody's Twitter quote. Manny Calavera. The original Halo reveal beta as a third-person game has been leaked online. They all launch as basic.exe files with no extra work needed on modern systems. Link to download in reply. Interesting. However, this week's leak has made the 1999 demo fully playable on PC, along with nearly 100 gigabytes of other files containing unfinished and cut content from the original Halo games developed by Bungie.
Damn. That's 100 gigabytes back in then.
That's a lot of content for turn-of-the-century data. Yeah. On Thursday, a former member of the DigSite mod team confirmed the legitimacy of the leaked content, but claimed that none of its current or former members were responsible. I nor any of the recent DigSite departures did this. They wrote, for reference, by the way, myself and the recent departures actually didn't have access to some of these files, like the debug DLLs, while this happened, but Merry Christmas, fellas. Another former DigSite member commented on the leak, claiming that most of the mod team had recently quit due to a dispute over the team's alleged lack of pay and resources. Look at that screenshot of that third person. I want to play this. I and the rest of the team responsible for Crash Site, E3, Alpha Moon, and most Halo 1, Halo 2 content quit because it was made clear to us that the E3 2003 demo was more successful than Microsoft expected, and they wanted us to deliver another release on that level, still with no pay and no resources at all. Microsoft recently rebranded 343 Industries as Halo Studios and confirmed that it's working on multiple games developed with Unreal Engine 5. The news was announced during the Halo World Championship and is accompanied by a video showing a technical test of various Halo-themed locations running in Unreal Engine 5.
We missed our chance to watch the Halo World Championship, right? We didn't go to DreamHack.
Did they do it there again?
I think they did.
DreamHack was fun.
They made it a whole week this time. Remember, there was like a whole.
Yeah. We should go back. That was a good time.
The global invitation said it was a DreamHack. Yeah.
But that's when they showed off that here's what you can look forward to next in Halo, and we all drooled over those screens and videos and stuff. Certain Affinity was one working on what could have been a game-changing battle royale mode for Halo Infinite. The studio's former design director Mike Klopper recently claimed. We need to go check this content out. That sounds like some good stuff. And if it's out there, it's out there. And I feel even less about it. The team responsible for converting and uncovering all that was uncompensated. That moral gray line starts disappearing when they just did the Lord's work with keys to the kingdom. We need to check some of that stuff out, or at least watch some YouTube videos on it, right?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of video on it. It looks interesting.
I mean, we've all seen that Macworld, third-person demo, right, with all the Banshees flying around all over the place and Master Chief. Like, it's interesting in retrospect, but kind of looking at it, you're like, oh, I'm glad they went the first-person mode and did what they did for the Xbox, because I don't know that it would have stood out as much in that third-person space and what they were trying to do with it. But it was also real-time strategy starting off, so it's almost like a Halo Wars type thing. Do I have the right story pulled up? We need to check out some of that stuff. Sony at CES.
I can take this. Take a break here.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here.
I mean, this was. I think Richard was texting friend of the show Russell on this one as they were announcing it, because this seemed to be mostly media based from the PlayStation at CES or Sony at CES.
It did, but we kind of knew this pivot was coming, right? Like this was going to be an important thing.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they are a media company, right? So this makes sense for them.
Even though someone replied in a thread I was looking at with the Sly Cooper from the movie. Do you remember that movie, CGI Sly Cooper, that looked kind of off? Like,
well, see, that one was when they outsourced everything. Everything seems to be they're more selective on who they're picking out here now.
Right. Last of Us is like
So, I
a
mean-
huge success. Like everybody loves the Last of Us TV show. It won shit tons of awards.
So we know hopefully sometime this year we have the new Ghost game coming out, and so they got on stage and announced that Ghost of Tsushima. Legends, which is an anime, was announced, and it's in partnership with Aniplex and Crunchyroll, which are all Sony owned. So this will probably be something they will do exclusively through them, and I think this is coming in 2027. So we still got a couple years
Holy
out
crap.
before this we'll see any life of this. Outside of that, they announced that the Horizon Zero Dawn live action film is in production. Originally, there was going to be a TV series, but I think that was canceled from Netflix because I think there were some issues with the showrunner that all his shows were canceled.
Damn.
And Netflix parted ways with him because of
Okay.
some unsavory on-set activity.
Somebody had to
reported
go.
from said person.
Yeah.
So now it seems like instead of following the TV show, they're going to do it in a movie, which is interesting because there's a lot of lore in that game, but we'll see how that turns out.
It seems
And
more fit for a TV show, right? As you slowly uncover mysteries of what happened and Aloy's backstory and everything.
Correct. It seemed like it would be better built for that, but we'll see. You never know.
Right.
And this one, not surprising out of nowhere, is they announced that a Helldivers movie's in production.
Friend of the show, Russell, was very thrilled at this.
They note on here concerning the clear inspiration. Helldiver franchise includes like Starship Troopers. I mean, this one I would imagine will be a lot of comedy-based stuff. So hopefully a lot of what they always say, tongue-in-cheek action jokes, all that on there. So we'll see if they give it to a right group of directors. I think this will turn out to be a good time. We also saw a small trailer for The Last of Us Season 2, which will premiere on HBO and Max on April 2025. So just another 3 months.
Yeah, did we know it was going to be that soon, or was that kind of the big unveiling there?
They weren't very secretive. They were recording most of last year, because I know Pedro Pascal was split between Gladiator 2 and as well as the new Fantastic Four film coming out.
Oh.
So I think they had to do his scenes early.
Okay.
So, and he had to come back later to film some more. So I think we knew we were filming last year for 2025, but like you said, Richard, I don't think we had a date yet. So it's coming pretty quickly.
Right.
So outside of that, I think this is everything. And I apologize. This is all from I think the first time we've ever seen the Lords of Gaming by Robert Kellett.
That was good stuff, though.
So,
good summary.
Yep. So a lot of PlayStation CES was anything officially announced was all mostly just for media-based properties off of existing game franchises. I don't think there was anything really gaming-related announced from them. So, I mean, I don't think there was anything really gaming-related announced from anybody outside of the new, like Lenovo. The new handhelds are coming out there with the new AMD Ryzen 2 chips. So,
I've got one right here. Actually, I've got the Lenovo 11-inch. That thing was massive. Did y'all see that thing? Mm-hmm. Oh no, it was Asus. Asus has that big giant handheld. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the handhelds monster.
Yeah, are typically the biggest thing right now, and we're going to see a lot of that going through the future here.
I like this a lot. I love this competition, and it's like Moore's law is accelerating even faster with what they can jam into these things.
Yeah, and I mean, just to derail a little bit, I think we saw what NVIDIA had on there, and a lot of it is going into AI for graphics capabilities, which I think fits well.
Did you watch that presentation?
Mm-hmm. Which fits well with handhelds, right? Because I mean, you are using lower power devices, so if you can use AI to kind of upscale that image without having to worry about optimizing on the go as often, would be a huge help. You know, you can run everything at a lower frame rate, or lower frame rate, lower resolution, and use AI to kind of boost everything up to an acceptable one.
So it was like 17 of 18 pixels would be AI generated based on like frame generation. That so I watched that whole NVIDIA presentation, and like we dabble around with AI stuff like chatbots and things like that, right? Just getting it to build. Like most recently, we had a workout regimen built out of it, and also a shopping list. Like it'll pull in current ads, so it's like build me a Kroger list for a family of 4 for under $200 and low carb focus, and you'll get pricing and everything. But actually seeing not just them talking about it, but you know, the vehicle stuff started off first. It was the autonomous vehicles, and like your path from your home to work, you drive that one time, And it can take that model and those videos and build all sorts of like thousands of data points of, all right, this lane's closed and here's an accident here and there's cones here. And you have to go off the path and go to this road to reconnect to it. And just like seeing the imagery of that was insane to me. And then the robot stuff, like they were showing with the Apple Vision Pro, the spatial computer. Somebody was wearing that and doing like, they were checking steering wheels or something. And then they were feeding that QC process into the AI algorithm. And the robot was like digesting all these different things and like all the variables and stuff that you could look for in those steering wheels or whatever they had. And it was just, it was wild to me. It was above like reading a white paper or something like that, where you could actually see what they were doing with that stuff. It was crazy.
It's like what you said. It's like it's versus reading like a sci-fi story where, I mean, it seems like the actual application of some of this stuff is like mind-bending, like what they're utilizing it for versus just like, oh, it's a replacement for this. It's kind of like furthering enhancing like safety and ways to cut down your drive. You know what I mean? Stuff that people need in everyday life, as you know.
Those robots are going to be walking around soon. They are going to be walking around.
Wall-E, right? We're just all going to be in chairs like this.
Yeah, just like Wall-E. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the gaming bit of it, I saw some demonstrations with both Ratchet and Clank and Cyberpunk 2077. And
Ratchet and Clank, I think they had the FSR 4.0 in there, which looked really, really good.
They were zoomed into stairs, and so you could see Ratchet like swaying back and forth in front of these stairs, and it showed like the FSR 3 implementation and then the 4. And it was able to, like, it gets rid of this blur that's around Ratchet where it's trying to do that frame generation. The Cyberpunk 2077 one was even more crazy because they zoomed in. It was like this major, I don't know, like a dining hall or something. And they zoomed in on this one table. So you're looking at the whole frame and they move in on this one table. And in the FSR 3, like somebody's moving their arm around and there's this nonstop ghosting. It looks like, it looks AI driven. It does, like where it's like, all right, just pretending to put arms here, and it's just ghosting all over the place. And then it's like the Will Smith eating spaghetti one, where it always looks fake, right? Yeah, like those early.
Like you can always look at it like that doesn't look right. We never reached that part in AI and like gaming or media where it like, oh, I can't tell the difference. You know, I mean, you can always look at it and tell the difference.
We're getting there. Like the Will Smith spaghetti stuff was just a couple years ago, and it has.
And they did a new one.
It's not.
You can still tell. And it looks better, but
right.
I mean, every couple of years it seems like it's jumping ahead. So
I mean, because it used to be you would just count like fingers, right? Like you would count the fingers holding the fork, and there would be like extra digits.
It was sucking in noodles, like his whole mouth would go inside. So it's like it was more comedic than it was like a representation of what AI video could do.
Will Smith spaghetti. Is this still the same Will Smith from the Giant Bomb show? Is it the one that was playing Helldivers?
Let's go with that one. Not Will Smith. I love how he puts not Will Smith on there.
That is his handle. Or the Dodgers catcher. The Dodgers have a catcher named Will Smith. Yeah. Ooh, boy, I mean, that stuff's getting crazy, man.
Yeah, CES was pretty interesting, but that definitely is, like you mentioned, CES seems to be very much the AI show for this go around. So, I mean, I think of the application, I think we're going to see more generational leaps in gaming with AI that's coming up than we would on like increase in the graphics card. I think I'm interested in watching. I mean, there were some Switch 2 leaks out there for concepts for builds on there, and I think there was some stuff out there announced with the copyright for their AI version of for the next Switch console that we followed last year. So I'm kind of interested in that one because the rumor is that it goes up to 4K. So I think that's a big, huge win for Nintendo because they
from
were
like 720p source, like the native image quality on that 720p,
which makes sense because if pixel wise that goes into 4K easily, right? So I mean versus anything else. But I'm interested in that one. See how that looks because I think if they can tighten up the graphics with AI.
See what you did there.
I did the thing. I said the thing.
So
I think that'd be a huge win for them because that's something they never focus on is having the latest, greatest tech. Especially they're going to keep doing the handheld market, so which they're going to be a little bit behind because the Ryzen 2 came out there, and I mean, Richard, you saw that Lenovo Go, man. That shit's crazy. 32 gigs of RAM. I mean, that thing's going to be a beast when it comes out in next month.
Handheld.
So. Yeah,
it's nuts. I already am shocked at like what the ROG Ally can do just plugging it into a USB-C dock. It's like, I know Cesar, you were talking about when you got it, but it's like, this is a full-blown PC here. Like this is immediately stronger and faster than my laptop that I've been using.
Yeah, what's funny is I left the Huawei at home, and I tend to bring that with me more if I need to do a Windows-based device and when I have access to docking station because it is more powerful and outside of maybe the couple people servers, it's like, what are you playing games of it? It's like, no, man, this is a full version of Windows 11 Pro.
Why does it have a screen and analog sticks? What are you doing over there?
Don't worry about that. You're paying attention to the wrong thing.
It does that on the side. I had this brainwave, and maybe I'm putting $1 billion idea out there, but I don't have the resources to bring it home. Like we're always talking about scalers, right? Like Cesar was talking about the RetroTink 4K, which Mike Chi announced a lower priced option. Brant, did you see this news? The RetroTink CE Combat Evolved, the RetroTink 4K CE. It cuts out some enhanced S video upscaling, which I don't think I have anything that puts out enhanced S video anyways. It takes a couple shortcuts on certain features, and I didn't see anything in there that was like deal breaking, but it cuts down the price like what 30 to 40%. It starts at 4 something, I think, instead of 7.
Did they also take out some of like they left all the ports in there, right? They didn't.
All the ports are there.
All
the ports are there, and it's going to get firmware updates alongside the 4K. But there's a.
I don't think he's selling the. I don't think he's selling the. I mean, he's not stopped selling or stopped making the original 4K, right? I think this is just a more
it's a long
economical choice.
It's alongside, but it's more of consumer friendly because there's nothing non-professional about the regular 4K. Like he built a pro device. But veering off of that, this is where my mind went. Like we're always trying to find the right scaler, right? What if we had something that we ran things through that does all this stuff? It does the frame generation. It fills in assets. Like it does these things that modern scalers don't. Like scalers started off, we're trying to make it like an Xbox look good on a LED, right? But what if we're starting to funnel those things into some AI generated scaler that adds to the game? All of a sudden, like I've been playing these PS3 games. What if I'm playing them at a native 4K? Like not just this upscaled thing, but this AI frame generated, and it fills in all the things around the gaps and like frame rate. What if you funneled it into this AI scaler that you could set like 120 frames per second and play Resistance at 120 frames per second, or Super Mario 64 with
madness?
I mean, where's the limit there when you have like external GPUs and all these things?
It's coming.
Yeah.
I bet you it's coming.
And just like where my mind was going with this is like people build profiles for, you buy a scaler, you can turn it on like an N64 thing. It's going to bring the best out of the N64. Mm-hmm. You build one of these AI frame generated upscaler type things that does it for the N64. It leverages what that hardware should look like and gives you maybe widescreen automatically, maybe 60 frames solid. Maybe it gets rid of the fog in the background and can generate what it knows the game is going to do in the background and stuff like that. I like
the Fog of War.
Yeah, the Fog of War is kind of nice sometimes, and they kept it with like Soul Reaver when you look at
Kryptonite Fog.
Kryptonite Fog, Turok Fog.
I think is it still on Turok even with the remasters, or did they remove it?
Yeah, I think it's part of the game. Like they kept that. Yeah. They did with Soul Reaver. That was my example.
It's a feature.
Yeah, it's not a bug; it's a feature. All right.
What I know, I didn't put it in the news, but I figured we'd talk about it when actually it's officially revealed.
We have more non-news news. We're killing this news section. I'm like, man, we could blow through this thing and talk about some games play.
What's everybody's reaction to all these crazy Switch 2 things? Because very quickly it went from like Christmas Day, there was some very weird photos put out
like
that had some like
and stuff,
weird AI generated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, we got the motherboard, and then we got the Joy-Cons, and then now with CES,
the C button, the mysterious C button,
and the optical,
the little optical
mouse,
optical sensor.
And now with CES, we've gotten all these 3D mock-ups that all these accessory makers have on hand.
Specifically from the French company Genki.
Mm-hmm.
Who apparently Nintendo's lawyers met them on the showroom floor and had a talking to. They had to come back and say, we don't officially know any of this stuff. It's just...
we officially have not held a Nintendo Switch 2, so this is just our concept, right?
We know what it looks like. We know what's powering it. Just get out there. Show us some software for it.
So,
recently, I think it was within the past 2 days or so, there was another one shown where the screen was on, but it was like one of those kind of like debugging menu, or like one of those test menus.
I didn't see that
I
one.
don't know. Yeah, it's very, very fresh.
I mean, a lot of it's from the manufacturer, right? Where it's being
Gotta
manufactured
be.
at. So
Gotta
it's
be.
like, I agree with Richard. I mean, at this point, I don't think we're going to see anything until the beginning of February because of what the rumor is April launch. I think you announce it sometime in February. You give like until then to get pre-orders and everything out, and that's going to be right. If they're doing April, it's going to be right after their fiscal year, right?
Yeah.
So next fiscal quarter. So I would imagine we'll get a direct in March. Announcement in February, direct in March about the the launch lineup, any differences on there in the gameplay, stuff like that. But I don't feel like we'll see anything here. But I think I think the rumors are true that they've been manufacturing this model for a while,
long time.
So to build up a good backlog for the demand they're going to see.
They're going to be able to sell every single one that they produce. So please make this a high demand. Make this a high availability item. It's going to be in high demand.
The only thing that angers me is that I have to yet again buy a new memory card, micro SD.
Yeah, it's going to be the Express.
I had to look up what a
SD.
micro SD Express was. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's like SSD type speeds.
Mm-hmm. I think the highest. I think it's the same. It goes up to 2 terabytes at its max, but I think there's only a terabyte available now at the highest in the market. So.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's somewhat newer technology, and it's just not a lot of things are using it or support it at the moment.
Right.
But I mean, hey, you're Nintendo. You're looking at ways you can implement something faster because you've got the SSDs in both the PS5 and the Series X, and it is hard to deny the capability of leveraging that kind of speed when it comes to your games. So they had to figure out something to do, and for this Express SD technology is pretty damn good.
For third-party support, you need that bus traffic. You need something with those read-write speeds that are comparable to those other things that are coming out.
I mean, especially when they have not made it a secret that they are going to be way more third-party friendly this generation, right? So you want to kind of close the gap on some of that technology that's going to limit that. So
we heard that with Activision with the whole Call of Duty push. So Call of Duty, you're going to want Warzone's going to be on this thing, Fortnite's going to be on this thing, PUBG's going to be on this thing. All your War Thunder, Warframe, all your war games, I guess, are going to be on there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the next step for them, right? Yeah. I mean, they always have no issues with their first party. I mean, the next step is to, it's a battle now at this point, right? There's so many handheld consoles at this point coming out to the market. So you want to kind of, I mean, I don't think they'll have a hard time with it because, a lot of that's still PC based and, nothing's easy as Richard mentioned before on the show when you play the Asus ROG. You are playing a PC, right? It's not easy to optimize on there. I mean, they try to do it with the Armory Crate.
I'm a noob
with optimization.
I know it's my fault, but I'm used to using Windows with a mouse and keyboard. This is not the same.
So I mean, it does take some. I mean, some people don't want to do all that, so they just want to pop in a game and play it, or download a game and play it. So,
and that's where SteamOS has come up so big, and like you said, having the trackpads, like that makes a world of a difference on the Steam Deck. Navigating that thing. You don't hesitate to go into desktop mode on the Steam Deck. It's like it's just as native as moving around on that regular SteamOS.
But SteamOS is coming to everything now, so it's
confirmed SteamOS.
You would hope, right? You would hope.
That would be crazy.
To answer Brand's question, I mean, most of the stuff is been leaked out. It's going to be interesting to see how it all implements. That's the only thing. I don't think that's why Nintendo's scared to get anything out quickly because it's not going to come out any sooner, anyways. But they're always going to have the Nintendo flair where they have their announcement like, oh, you could do it this way and do it that way, where it's not thought of before. Because it's a little interesting that this seems like we're getting the indication so far that this generation that Nintendo's just putting out a Switch Pro, right? We know that's not what's going to happen. Right? That's what it seems like based off what's been leaked. That's what's going to happen. They're always going to have the Nintendo flair and have different ways to play. So
it's still, I don't know if there's anything. We're coming from an entitled view of sorts, right? Because we all have everything. We're not running up the banner for Nintendo like this is all we have. We're waiting for this next thing. I don't know that I'm going to play any of those things on this next thing. I want to see what the next iteration of my favorite franchises look like. That's my big excitement. As you can see that I'm surrounded by over here, but I want to see, a Mario Odyssey successor. I want to see what the next Zelda game looks like with this. Those sort of things. I want to see Metroid Prime 4, how it looks on this. That's going to be the big thing.
Thanks to Amazon, which canceled my pre-orders that I had a pre-order since 2018. So
is that one of your longest standing pre-orders? I saw that going around that they were canceling people's pre-orders.
I had my it was a match with the Best Buy's Gamers Club 20% off, so I lost that 20% off. Now I have to pay that $69.99. So
it wasn't your pre-ordered copy of Mighty Number 9 for 3DS?
Oof. No, because I knew that was never going to come out. So
did that never get released?
They recently canceled those pre-orders.
Oh my gosh!
Finally.
Saving those people from I wonder how many they actually canceled. I want to know what that number looks like.
I wonder how many people were still holding on. They're like, it's coming. I know it is. It's coming.
Do you think Amazon provides those numbers to a publisher? Like, hey, there's 300,000 people waiting on this thing. Do you think that ever works both ways?
Amazon does not care, man. They're a corporation because they've canceled like limited edition stuff for me that I pre-ordered fairly, and then they came back like, oh, we don't have enough.
Yeah.
Canceling your copy, and I sit there and literally talk to customer service and like, you know what, basically tells me sucks to be you. I can offer you $5, or we can look and see what's available. And when the guy looked on there, he's like, oh yeah, now they're selling them for $600 because it's your third party stuff because they bought the pre-orders and now they're selling it on there. He's like, I mean, it's available for $600. You can get that one. I was like, it was $200 when I purchased it from you. So I was like, of course not. Why would I pay 3 times more?
Please look at what you refunded me the first go around. It does not even compute. This does not even come close.
They 100% do not care as a corporation, right? So I mean, it's going to be next person up. That's how they
made their money. It doesn't matter who it's going to.
I would say it's unfortunate, but I mean, I saw I think it was Cheap Ass Gamer was reporting that a lot of angry people were out there complaining about it. And I looked at my email and I was like, oh yeah, your Metro Prime 4 has been canceled. 2018, I think it was like April 2018 when I pre-ordered it.
Probably
and it was part of that 20% off.
It went up. I miss Gamers Club Unlocked, and I was sad when it left. And there's just not as many physical games coming out anymore. We're able to get like the Best Buy still does the buy two get one on Switch games every once in a while,
But did they even sell any in the store? I think all that's done handled by the warehouse and shipped out locally, right?
Yeah, everything comes shipped to me. All right, let's move on to the next story so we can finish up this news we keep aside. We could do a whole episode of Switch 2 rumors. Whenever they do have that direct go live, let's try to figure out how to live stream.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we got to live stream that.
I remember like stopping at work to watch the rooftop party, the announcement of that system. That was exciting.
Skyrim. Did any of us ever actually play on a rooftop with that? As attended from that?
I never played on a rooftop. I've done that tabletop mode once or twice, and that was dire circumstances. We didn't have a dock or HDMI port near us was basically the barrier.
It's tough looking on a 7-inch screen, right? It's tough.
Yeah, shared between two people, and you're all up in their hot breath next to you, sharing a Joy-Con and stuff. It's nothing about that is ideal. But we were playing, that was a friend of the show, Joel and I, playing NBA, what'd they call that? NBA Playground? Those early like Switch games that were arcade style.
Yeah.
We never won a single game of that. The computer thumped us every single time, but we had some good lunch breaks with it. And that's around the time Metal Slug started coming out on the, was that the arcade series? Arcade, ACA Arcade or something?
ACA one, the hamster ones?
Yeah. I think Metal Slug 3 was like one of the first ones, and we would play through Metal Slug 3 at lunch and stuff. Let's continue with the news. Andy Robinson from VGC, VideoGamesChronicle.com. PlayStation's boss says it's open to reviving classic franchises. I think that is an optimistic lead, in my opinion. Speaking
the IEC Freedom Wars.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, we've talked about this, haven't we? That being a method.
Yep.
Speaking to Famitsu, the exec said that going forward, the platform holder intends to offer a broad range of experiences from both its first-party studios and by working with external developers. Quote, the various IPs that we own are an important asset to PlayStation, and as part of our efforts to strengthen our portfolio, we are continually looking at opportunities to leverage past IP as well as develop new franchises. Our goal is to publish games by the world's best creators, both inside and outside of PlayStation, and we have achieved many successes so far by working closely with external development studios. Holst also praised the performance of Team Asobi's Astrobot, which won Game of the Year at Game Awards this month. According to the CEO, Astrobot sold 1.5 million copies in its first 9 weeks, with nearly 40% of those sales coming from players who were either purchasing a PlayStation game for the first time or for the first time in 2 years. Almost half. That's wild. So do you think that's people who have like Fortnite and PUBG boxes or Warzone boxes?
I would imagine so. I mean, we could sit here and argue when was the
Interesting.
last time they released a major PlayStation game in a long time that wasn't a remaster or remake, but outside of Helldivers.
That's fair. I'm going to cut out of the article real quick. Randy Rebels is in the chat saying hotty toddy to you as well, Randy Rebels. Hope you are safe and warm.
Randy!
Quote, we are thrilled that it has been so well received by the gaming community with a Metacritic score of 94 and a wide range of players who are truly enjoying the game, Hull said. He continues, it has also contributed significantly to the expansion of the community with a higher percentage of younger players and families purchasing the game compared to other titles. I would kill to see this data. I want to see this Astrobot data. Yeah. Who bought, what they previously played. I want to see all this stuff. How much time they put into it, who all played. Because that was all on our games of the year list last year.
Oh, hell yeah.
Somebody mentioned...
Good-ass game.
Go ahead.
No, I just said a good-ass game.
It's a phenomenal game. I played a little bit more, but I won't touch much on that on games played. I don't think it just progress, just working my way through the levels. But I enjoy every fucking second of that game, even when it's a challenge level and it's kicking my ass. I'm like, it's fair. It's tough, but it's fair.
Yeah.
Was it us talking about there's no Twisted Metal references in Astrobot? Can I remember if that came up on our show or I heard that somewhere?
Not us. Somebody must have said it, but now you mention it, I don't. That's
because I haven't beat the game, and I heard that from somewhere, and I was like, man, there's no Sweet Tooth, or there are no Twisted Metal references in the Astrobot game. Axel's in it, yeah. Because somebody was like, actually, Twisted. It's the Player One podcast. Because Phil was correcting the crew. The car's name is Sweet Tooth. The clown has a different name.
Yeah. Which
he knew the entire name. I was like, wow, it's some deep ass Twisted Metal trivia here. Everybody just knows it is Sweet Tooth. They know the clown is Sweet Tooth. So I read this original quote outside of this interview. I read the Famitsu translated one, and it definitely sounds like it's going to be the external studios route. It was a very PR answer. Like, you can't go Jim Ryan and say who would play those old games, right? We have no interest in doing anything with that. But at the same time, it was no confirmation of, hey, we can't wait to get these in. We sold a shit ton of PlayStation 5s. Everybody loved Jack and Daxter and Astrobot, and they've been clamoring for a new Jack and Daxter game, and we can't wait to find a studio to like it. We didn't get that sort of. It's not that level of speak. And
I think I read somewhere else that they paraphrased that Famitsu article a little bit more deeply, where they said that possibly using some of those franchises for like AA games in between AAA games, stuff like that. That's what they were saying, to buy time between that way they think they're trying to do a response to like what they had last year with those lagging releases of games, but they would use those type of experience, that they didn't put a tent pole around these old franchises, but saying like, all right, they got to sell the Square Enix 20 million copies of Tomb Raider, and it's not 20 million enough.
It's crazy. I look back at some of these numbers of like the PS3 and 360 generation. It's like, what did you want from this? Like, Deus Ex didn't meet expectations. I guess we're picking on Square Enix and Eidos, but
I mean, I don't know if we can at this point. I mean, you saw it they released earlier. Was it Microsoft said it, or Activision said it cost $700 million to make a Call of Duty game? So,
but those numbers, like when you look at I saw a metric somewhere, they're costing more and more to make, and they're selling less of them.
Yeah.
Like it's not the trade off. It's not this big retail
zeitgeist
that it used to be.
AAA buzz is coming, man. It's coming.
I'm here for it. I've got the backlog to get me through any sort of break in there, and the Switch 2 could like fit into this niche and just fill that gap of like, we need those Astrobots out there. I sent you guys an article yesterday, I think it was. I've been watching videos on the PS3 Game Republic. I've been watching all these PS3 videos. It's like, check out this everybody calls it a hidden gem, right? Check out this hidden gem on PS3. There are so many Game Republic games on there. Folklore, Maijin and the Forbidden Kingdom. Ninja Theory really hit its stride on the PS3. We got Heavenly Sword. We got Enslaved, Odyssey to the West. We just had these great games that were...
Still enjoy DMC, even though people give me shit about it.
DMC was on there, and then the definitive edition after that for PS4, and it's like, we need more of these that fill out this library in it. We talk...
And you know what's crazy? And I don't mean to derail, and
we've been derailing. We've been derailing.
And this is the last thing I'm going to say before that. I realized why I enjoyed DMC so much, and I think it's because it was written by Alex Garland.
What's the context for that?
Alex Garland is a director, and I think if I remember, was it him that wrote it? Yeah, written by Alex Garland.
Okay.
And let's go down the list of some of the movies
Let's say the name sounded familiar.
he's written and directed. So he's a writer for 28 Days Later, writer for Sunshine, writer. He was executive producer for 28 Weeks Later. He wrote Dread. He wrote and directed Ex Machina.
Oh.
And he also wrote and directed one of my favorite movies, and I know Richard enjoyed, which was Annihilation.
Oh God.
Okay.
That movie was incredible.
Yeah.
I still have nightmares.
This is
about
why I think that's
Annihilation.
probably why I enjoyed that game so much, because he's one of my favorite writers. So
I might need to spin up this DMC. You don't need to have any other Devil May Cry knowledge, right? It's like
it was supposed to be their reinterpretation of it. So it's
It's like a soft reboot, wasn't it?
and it's
kind of
Yeah,
Ninja Theory
most
published
people-
by Capcom, but not actually like part of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lineage.
correct.
Okay.
It is their spin on it. It plays differently. The story's different. A lot of people who are huge fans of DMC was like, "Not my DMC" is what they called it, not my Dante or something like that. I enjoyed the writing for what it was. It is very British, but Alex Garland is very British. So I mean, he is British, but as a writer and director, I've always enjoyed Alex Garland. I was wondering why I was such a fan of that DMC, and I think it was part because he wrote
That's
that
interesting.
story. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to check that one out. I think I have it on
But
PS3 and PS4.
to answer your question, Richard, you have to have no prior knowledge of DMC. It was supposed to be, as Brant had said, a new launching point for that franchise, but it's not what the fans wanted. So then that's when they went back to Devil May Cry 5. I want to say they put out 4 first, and then they put out this.
Or 4 special edition.
Correct, because this is the route where everybody started calling Capcom Crapcom was in those years.
Now they're back.
Yep. Yeah.
Who can we weave crap into their name and bring them back?
We can't say shit about Konami anymore because it seemed like they're coming out of it.
Konami's
so, I mean, we
back.
gotta,
yeah, slowly coming back.
I'm excited. As long as they don't fuck up this Suikoden collection. I mean,
Mhm.
I have no complaints. Brand has a way to play Castlevania on 85 different devices.
Yep.
Almost every version of Castlevania is playable.
Oh my God! Between the
So-
Dominus collection and Advanced collection and Anniversary, we've gotten old school Castlevania nonstop.
We're just missing a 3D collection, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how great those games are, but I know they have phenomenal soundtracks.
I would be okay just to put them out there for people to play them.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. Good game or bad
I don't,
game.
it doesn't have to be enjoyable for me, but I'm sure somebody will find joy in it somehow as they fire up Castlevania 64.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the sequel. And the sequel / remake of that one.
Oh, their expansion pack.
Yeah. This should be pretty quick. PlayStation Plus monthly games for January: Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, phenomenal game, and the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Was Stanley Parable the one you dove into a couple years ago?
No, I've read about it. It's supposed to be really good. This is like a pseudo sequel,
To
but it's
to the Stanley Parable.
Yeah, it's got like an expansion that kind of goes on there. It's an interesting game on there. It's made by Crows, who are pretty good with doing humorous games.
Okay. Is it Papers, Please that I'm thinking of that you dove into?
Papers, Please was no. It's the Trover Saves the Universe.
I'm trying to think
that
of a
one
game
where-
that you were playing that I guess it was confusing with Stanley Parable.
It's Trover Saves the Universe, I believe, because it's the same developer. It's with that potty mouth humor and stuff like that.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Papers, Please is just like looking at passports. You're like letting people in and like from the west to the east type thing, and it's made by one guy. So
I'm definitely confusing those in because I remember when you played Trover Saves
Absolutely.
the Universe. You did that on
yeah, 'cause
VR,
there's a lot
right?
of- Yes. I think I streamed a little bit of it if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But Stanley Parable is that same Crows is that same type of humor on there. So it's like kind of like almost I never played it completely, but it's kind of like it reminds me of like your Severance show.
Mhm.
It's like a funny, like a maybe a tongue-in-cheek version of that one because it's like somebody who goes to the cubicle every day, and it turns into this crazy larger universe, like nothing matters type of thing.
Funny in
So,
my
but it's,
cubicle, the universe shrinks and everything becomes
It's
insignificant.
I suggest that it's one of those games that if you have like maybe 6 or 7 hours and you're bored on a Sunday, it's probably one of those ones to sit down and play. So
Add it to your collection. Suicide Squad, they're kind of pulling the plug on support on that, right? That was Rocksteady's live service
Season's
swing and
last.
miss or something. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's like more layoffs coming to Rocksteady too. So
Yeah, because I mean that rumor going around that seems to be true is that they're outsourcing their DC games instead of doing it internally. Because we saw that the Arkham VR is not done by Rocksteady. I think it's done by an external studio.
And that was highly
So-
reviewed. Like people
yeah,
love
it's
that
supposed
one.
to be
It's
actually pretty
it's a
good.
system seller, yeah. A
So
friend of
I
the
think,
show, Dale, got a new MetaQuest device with that game, and I've been anxiously
Did it have an
awaiting
S
some
on there, or
review.
did it lack a S?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure which device they received.
Yeah.
But it was bundled with both devices, and it's supposed to be a pretty good title, so I'm curious about that.
I'll stick with the now discontinued Apple Vision. But here we go.
Or the seemingly discontinued PlayStation VR 2.
Which I think what the rumor is that the new Apple Vision would just use the old headset and they're just gonna put the M4 chips in there, right? So
Oh, well, that's good.
I think that was the rumor since they have so
Okay.
much sitting on the shelf, kind of like Sony's
They have
PSVR
stock.
2.
Hey,
Brant, before I forget, and I forgot to tell you last time, check your PSVR 2 controllers. One of the controllers has their R2, I think it's the R2 one. R2 trigger tends to stick. It's a known issue on certain models.
Ew.
So I got lost into a Reddit thread. So there's a way to fix it. You have to use Richard's old fashioned get contact cleaner connector and kind of spray it
I'm
in
looking
there.
at a can right now.
Gotcha.
So they tell you which model to identify it, and it. I haven't tried it on mine yet, but apparently it's a
Let's say
combination certain model. So
If I'm about to say if it's at hand, if you can remember where that
I'll send it
Reddit
to you
thread
after the
is, if
show.
you can, yeah,
I'll send it
you
to
can send
after
it
the
to
show.
me.
Yeah.
That'll work.
It's crazy. They broke it down right down to the model number to specific ones that are
Shit.
causing issues. Yeah.
Brant, the contact spray is
Um,
available at a warehouse near you. Or you
I
have
think it's
some
out
on
in the
you.
garage. I'm about to say nope. Here it is. I was about to say I think I took it out of the garage.
Yeah,
Oh
that's it.
yeah,
Right there.
QD electronic cleaner. Let's go. Good for
Not
degreasing
sponsored- not
engines and
sponsored
killing
stream.
brain cells.
This is not a sponsor stream.
It
though.
should be. Oh man, this is so
All right,
good
let's,
on pins. One other note on the
finish up.
PSVR 2. I dumped on it there a minute ago, but I'm still looking for one. Like every time I go into Walmart, I look and see.
Really?
I see Reddit threads about people walking in and it's like some online return and they have to sell it for half price and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking when I go in there. I look on the side of the box and
Ah,
everything.
I'll keep my eye out
Yeah.
as well because I know there's usually one in the a case at the Walmart I sometimes go to.
If you happen to see one on
So.
sale, I will jump on that deal. And I was watching them when they were, what'd they get down to, $350 again? And now they're back up to $4.99 or $5.99 or whatever they are. So I'm on the lookout. I poo-pooed on it, but that's
So
just
you'll have to-
tech envy.
You'll have to jump on it when they dump them out like they did the Vita TVs.
I hope they don't, but I did get one of
I
those.
paid
then, too.
$25 for mine, man. I remember that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're expensive now, right? People are trying to find
Oh,
those.
yeah.
Okay.
They're easily hackable, so the value of those have gone up. So
I also looked to see if
Which
Freedom
tends to be the
Wars, the
case.
original Freedom Wars, was playable on Vita TV, and it is. So could
Yes.
always just play that
Oh, well-
version instead of.
Even if it's not whitelisted on the playable games that are compatible with Vita TV, there are ways to get
there are methods.
games working.
alternate
There are
means.
methods.
Brant, I may
'Cause there
I
are-
may get an
are
alternate Vita
games-
and go down this rabbit hole with you.
Yeah. There are games that should have no problems and do have no problems working on Vita TV, but for some reason they're not on the approved list of games via
That's what-
Sony's
That's what killed Vita
compatibility.
TV.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid shit like that.
But let's real quickly, before we do games played, get into our Xbox Game Pass games for the month of January.
Ooh, see a
So
ROG
first
Ally
up,
candidate.
we have returning to Game Pass, Road 96. Then we also have Lightyear Frontier,
I was thinking
my
Buzz.
time-
Buzz Lightyear Frontier.
Yeah.
My Time at Sandrock, Robin Hood, Sherwood Builders.
Not Men in
Not sure what a Bloxy.
we all had a Robin Hood joke in the chamber. We were all ready.
They bunch.
Can you play Abe Lincoln?
I still remember with was it Little John who happens to be huge?
Yeah.
I'm drowning. Just stand up. He's in that little tiny creek. You saved my life, Robin.
Oh man.
Next up
Blake
we
Ed.
have Rolling Hills. Esports UFC 5 is coming January 14th.
Do we need to have played EA Sports
And-
UFC 1 through 4?
Absolutely.
How do we know what's going on if we can't go straight to 5?
Mm-mm.
And Diablo for PC January 14th.
Man, put these games on console. Like, this game was on the original PlayStation. There's already a controller input out there for it that didn't even require analog sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know if they're gonna. I mean, when they come out with the new Xboxes with the Windows base in there, right? I mean, at this point, this will be ill moot.
This was my ROG Ally candidate I mentioned, Diablo, which I think I
quickly
purchased on GOG
leaving-
already, but good to have it available.
Quickly leaving January 15th, we've got Common Hood.
Another Robin Hood title.
Another Robin Hood title.
Ape Escape Academy.
This game past games is all what the fuck? I couldn't even finish my pen.
Escape Academy.
These are all Hood games with the Game Pass titles.
Yep. Escape Academy.
I don't remember Ape
Exo
Escape
Primal.
Academy. Was that the PSP one?
Yeah. The mini game one. Yeah.
It was. Figment, Insurgency, Sandstorm, and Those Who Remain. All of those games will be leaving the 15th. If you have any interest in buying those, make sure you use your 20% discount to buy them and keep them in your library.
Who's playing Exo Primal when it leaves Game Pass? Like, what does that audience look like when it's not a free to play?
I mean, Exo Prime, I think, is done, right? They've discontinued any new seasons and they've been recycling the 2 that are available. So I don't think there's any more growth in that game.
Is that all they were trying to get from Game Pass? Is like people to buy cosmetics or whatever from what was released?
I think that it was cross-platform, so I think they were trying to get people who actually purchased it outside the Xbox ecosystem to have a lot of player base out there.
Yeah.
I think that's what the dream was, right? So
It was all a dream.
most people got mad. They're like, this is not Dino Crisis. That's all they said when they fired that game up. So
We never checked in on Exo Primal, did we?
No.
We talked.
I
about
played
it.
the beta, and I never played the full real thing, and that was it.
Now's our chance before it leaves Game Pass.
And in 4 days, I'm okay.
Okay.
It'll probably take 4 days to run updates, right?
Probably take 4 days to go through tutorials, knowing our luck.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into games played. I have been continuing my Resistance marathon on Twitch
And we saw.
YouTube.
Well done, sir.
It's
Well done on
fun.
your streams.
Resistance 2 is good. Resistance 2 is a completely different game than the first one.
It's a step up, right? It's that classic Insomniac step up when they hit that second game.
It is in ways.
Good.
It is in ways. The graphics are a huge step up. The way the characters move, that sort of thing. The sound effects, I feel, the music. The story is lackluster. I'm kind of being led from one random thing to the next. It almost seems to just serve for set pieces, but the set pieces are fantastic. I may not fully understand or really care why I'm where I'm at, but it's fun. I'm doing good shit. Nathan Hale that's still the main character. He's slowly turning into one of these things, and he can talk to. He's part of the Sentinels, which is humans that have been infected with Chimeran virus, one way or the other, and they've kind of been rounded up together. He showed some sort of resilience against it. But the big baddie in this game, and Brant, you just ordered these, so I'm not going to do too much story stuff in case you dive into them. Yeah, show us that dual pack.
That's not the Days Gone.
Yeah.
No, Days Gone.
Days Gone dual pack. There's 2 copies of
Dual
Days Gone in
pack.
there.
More days, more
What's
gone.
in the Days Gone dual pack? No, it's just it's 2 copies.
4 days, more gone. That's the name of your podcast. 4 days, more gone.
More days, more gone.
Don't even call it Days Gone 2. It's called More Days, More Gone.
Holy
the sequel that we
shit.
deserve.
Way more interesting dual pack than what you just showed us. Gone is the weapon wheel from the first game. You could hold down R2 or R1 or something like that, and pull up a full-blown weapon wheel like Perfect Dark style, and just move the thumbstick and highlight it, and then that weapon would come up. You're back in the Halo days of primary, secondary, so you're just trading between two weapons. But they do tend to give you a weapon choice in between engagements. So, like after a battle or before a battle, just in between transitions, you'll have options of there'll be a shotgun on the ground, there'll be the carbine on the ground, that sort of thing. The set pieces are awesome. There's been better firefight sets. All right, Cesar pushed me on this one. Is this a better game? This is a more video game this go around.
I think you see growth, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it has a different co-play, right? I think what's odd, they didn't follow the story what you're experiencing, right? It's kind of a different set story.
Yeah. He speaks a lot. You do not have a silent protagonist in this one. You have Nathan Hale talks a lot in this one.
I still think, and I'm excited to see, and I don't want to derail too much, but I'm very excited to see you get to the third game, which I think is magnifique. I think
it's like the best of both.
It's like I feel about Killzone 3. I thought it was so talked about, underappreciated in my opinion, where like by the time it's like the general PlayStation population's kind of like moved on to other things. But
Herman Hulst Killzone.
Yeah, so I think those are very, very good. I'm excited to see when you get to 3. But I mean, for me, I don't know if it's better, but you can just see how they expanded upon the original idea and made some changes, right? Some for better, some for good, some for worse. So
they've kept up with the jump scares. There's some very survival horror-ish parts about this where you turn on the flashlight and you're just venturing through this abandoned place and trying to figure out what's happening in there. And but I'm bouncing all over the place. I've been in Utah. I'm in Chicago now. It's not just like British Countryside 1, British Countryside 2. You're moving amongst these locales, and there's a water monster that's like an instant kill if you end up in the water. They're called the Furies, and they're swimming around, and you just know, like, there was a whole level based off jumping across cars that were submerged in the water trying to stay out of these things.
It's all part of Brandt's. They don't do water-based games and platformers. They just spread it over the first-person shooter. So
yeah, see, this checks out.
Yep.
Oh, it's great, man. As I go through different scenes and I'm looking around and I see how well things are rendered for just the PS3, I'm like, oh my god, this looks amazing. I can't remember if I talked about it last time, but you start off in San Francisco. That's another bit piece. But I'm looking at the Golden Gate Bridge and I'm looking at the Chimeran ships going overhead, and I'm scaling around. I'm moving the camera back and forth, and just the scope and the depth and everything that this scene had. I was like, oh my god, this is a PS3. Like, this would take my breath away now in one of a newer generation. I'm like, this looks incredible.
It's like you said, that San Francisco level you played looked really, really good.
Holy shit. Yeah, you were on the stream for that part where I'm just looking around like, oh my god. And, on the stream's one thing because you're watching something, but when you're moving around in that world, that's what games adds to it. But I'm like, that is me looking around in there. It's just unbelievable. It's good though. This hasn't been a downgrade from the first game. I'll say that if I have to pick which one's better or not, but it hasn't decreased in quality in any capacity. It's a lot of fun.
Truly worthy of Brandt's double pack.
It is worthy of the dual pack.
Yep.
Somewhere has a triple pack. I can't remember if that's Asia or Europe or where exactly.
Oh, like the trilogy pack, the triology pack.
Yeah, there is a Resistance triology pack. I had to consult the guide today. I've got the Brady games. Yeah, I showed this.
Man, it's almost a Bible, man.
It's a fucking novel.
Yeah.
But a big part of it is also like multiplayer maps and stuff. So it's like, I'm not gonna be able to play that anymore. But there was like this wall of enemies coming at me. It's like this big wall of bugs, and I wasn't running the right way, and I wasn't running fast enough. And it was one of those gameplay elements of like, oh my god, this sucks. I just need to know how to beat this so I can get past this stupid part. And it turns out they went down a certain hallway and you have to loop back around them. But that gameplay element just was not fun. And I don't know. I almost felt like walking away, but because I was on the stream, it's like, all right, I got to figure out how to do this so I can get past this thing. And then it came.
God bless the stream when it does that.
Yeah, it came up again. It's like, all right, I know how to beat this thing. It's just not fun. But then they turned it into a really, really good boss battle. And that was a good time. And everything's tense. You never feel like you may encounter a firefight or a group of enemies or a room or a certain level where you do feel like a soldier. You feel like you've got a handle on stuff. But there's so many times where I'll be almost dead. Like the health system in this one is not like the first one. It's got the Uncharted, like the screen is fading, but it's like blood around the edges, or Gears, like the Crimson Omen, you know. But this one, there's so many.
Revive me.
You don't get revived in this one. There's so many times after an encounter where I just barely make it, and I'm like, that was tense, and I just survived, and I just made it out of this one. It's awesome. I'm loving so much. I'm almost done with this one. When I looked at the guide, I'm in chapter 5 of 7. Like I'm almost done with Resistance 2.
I felt like this game was shorter than the first one.
Yeah, the single player campaign is not super long, but I'm only. I don't want it to run out, but I know I have another game, so it's not like it would have been in 2008 streaming this. Like, I guess we had to gotta wait for a couple of years and see if we get another Resistance game.
Like Halo 2, God of War 2.
Cliffhanger ending. Speaking of Halo, nice segue there, Cesar. We all checked into Halo Infinite last week. That is all my like solo played games for myself, so I'll segue into the Halo Infinite that we touched on last weekend. We had a good time playing Halo Infinite again, right? We got friend of the show Buish on there, and we played a mix of Fiesta, and I put it on. It's not Big Team Battle. I put it on like Big Team Objective, I think it was. So
it was like 8v8, right?
Yeah, we had like 8v8 Fiesta, and was it King of the Hill was the name of that game mode? Is that the one you were asking about?
The one that I keep fucking. Was it Prime Minister of the Monarch, or what was the other thing on there? Prime Minister of the Monolith.
Prime Minister of the Monolith.
Oh my God.
President of the Mound. Yeah, we honestly had a good time with Halo Infinite.
We should remember all the different names we called it. So
there were some good titles in there. We out 343 the name of the mode. It felt fair. I lost some firefights where I was like, fuck this game, but I did not feel like I was cheated in any capacity. We also ran into Buish. Buish is in the chat.
My bad, Buish. I said it like 4 times, and he's like, "Oh, I think we should play King of the Hill." It's not like the time I heard it.
We should play King of the Hill.
or we could play King of the Hill. That's all it gives.
Hey man, what's that mode where we all try to get onto a space and hold it for as long as possible? We did.
Is it Dawn of the Dune?
That one works too.
Or let's see.
We ran into some Halo gods. There were a couple of rounds where it was like, okay, this is just gonna happen. This is what it is.
Monarch of the Mound. There we go.
Monarch of the Mound. There it was.
That sounds like something else, sir. But we'll let you have that one. We'll let you have Monarch of the Mound.
Ayo.
It was fun. Are we going back into that tonight? We're gonna play some more Halo.
We did some good tactical. We had some really good tactical matches.
Yeah. Cesar, you don't enjoy the tactical rounds as much, but those are my bread and butter, man. I fucking love those things.
I'm okay with them. Like I know the majority of the team like that. I'm just not very good at them because it always seems like even when I'm crouching. The thing that I don't want to get too much in detail about it, but the thing that angers me the most is as soon as I spawn, I'm shot in the head immediately. I'm like,
they're camping spawn points on that mode specifically.
That's what irritates me sometimes. And after that, I start to get aggravated. But it's cool. I'll play it. It's fine. I mean, I know everybody else likes it. That's their jam. I get it. So no real hate on there. The only ones that I really hate is like the Big Team Battle because I always feel like those are 100% not fair.
And we really the times it wasn't fair is like when we were getting super ran and they just had they had sniper and they had rockets and as soon as we spawned it was like, all right, here's two plasma pistols that aren't going to do a damn thing and I'm going to get rocketed. So
you get the shock rifle or you get
rifle. Jesus.
The plasma pistol and the stalker rifle and
I wouldn't mind doing. I mean, we didn't play the map where it's like that desert-based map where they have those 2 mounds across each other, those 2 points where we just use a snipe from on there, like with some vehicles on there. I always used to have fun on that Fiesta.
I do love that one where you can go underneath too, and there's like the lift in between.
I missed some of those maps. Yeah, I missed some of those. I mean, it was cool playing the other maps where it seemed to be remakes from previous Halo games, right? Because a lot of that stuff you saw on there, y'all recognized.
One of them was Damnation. Was that the right one? Yeah. Brant looked it up, I think, from Halo 1. The one we love with the spine and where you have
everybody's on the spine. Everybody on the spine.
God, that was good.
It was a pretty good recreation of that, So
we did really well when we were familiar with the map. Did y'all notice that too? Except for if we ran into true Halo gods, and it wasn't like we had We had an epic comeback. We were down by like 10 or 12 on one of those and made a comeback and won that thing. Like it was 49-49 and we fucking won. Those Halo moments, like you don't have that in anything else. I had a blast with it though. I think I want to stream that again. I want to fire that up again tonight.
Yeah, it's a good time.
We could talk about that. I think Bleach might be waiting on us.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
But that's it for me. A lot more Resistance 2. I'm enjoying the hell out of that. I'm enjoying streaming. I don't know if I want to keep going into Resistance 3 or take a palate cleanser or something. I might just keep going with it and then do Killzone next. I've never played through the Killzone games. But that's it for go ahead, Cesar.
Go whatever's in your heart, man. If you feel like you need to start up something, I mean, choose you don't have to go Killzone and 1 in there. You know, pick Tokyo Jungle, man. Play that one. I always hear everybody rave about it, but I've never actually seen anybody play Tokyo Jungle.
Eco's on my list. I want to play Eco as well.
Oh yeah.
It's on my list of shame. I always seem to put like 2 or 3 hours into that and then kind of fall off of it. So
I've only beat what Colossus, and that was it. That's the only one I've beaten.
That's the only one I've beaten.
Yeah.
Trilogy, right?
And I beat that on PS2.
Robot game.
I beat that at 12 frames per second on PS2.
I was a piece of shit and beat that on PS4. So I didn't even beat the remaster on PS3.
Blue Point did both of those, didn't they? They did the PS3 remaster and the PS4 remake.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But those are my games played. I will hand it off.
All right. For me, I'm not gonna go. I won't spend too much time. I mean, outside of what we already discussed, Halo Infinite.
Tell us about Fantasian. After Halo Infinite,
I will. Thank you, Richard. I will. That's I put like 10 hours in that game already. So
yeah, I want to know.
I played a platformer called Bakeru, which is on Switch and Steam.
Okay.
It reminds me a lot of like Ape Escape. It's a platformer.
How do you spell it?
With Bakeru, Bakeru.
Okay.
And it's made by Feel Good or Good Feel, however you want to call them. It's the people who made the Yoshi Yarn games, and it's not actually published by Nintendo. It's published by Spike Chunsoft, and it's very reminiscent of like Ape Escape when I fired it up there. It's a overworld map where you choose your locations, kind of like old school like Mario World, but the map opens up and you have a full 3D environment. It's kind of like it reminds me. It gets that colorful feel of like Ape Escape. So you have a Tanuki who can turn into a human as one of his powers on there. So he goes around and he has these 2 like baton sticks where you can control with your R2 and L2 to attack separately, or you could do at the same time to do a combined attack.
Does each one strike a different type of character or monster differently, or are they just left-right?
Different direction depending on who you're fighting and going against.
So this looks good.
It's very, very reminiscent of a collectathon type stuff. You go through and you collect different artifacts from the level. You meet this book who kind of gives you different facts about Japan. Like, there's even one where it talk about like a lot of people in the rural areas will go off this cliff and pee off this cliff as like a means of something that people fucking do just for whatever reason. It gives you a little fact, little bits of facts like that, stuff like that. And so as you go through, you're just going through this level. You're going through I forgot what the name of the boss is. I'll have to look it up and reiterate it later. I won't take up too much of our time here. But it's kind of like a robot, I guess.
Looks like a big clown.
Yeah. And so you're going to fight this guy, and as you go through, you find these other little different creatures who give you different henshin abilities to change and transform. Like I can turn small to go through these little crevices and go on there. So, and it has, it reminds me so much. I'm saying Ape Escape on there, and it really is. I've only played maybe like one level of it, but it's something that I've sat like maybe an hour or so before bed. I'll sit there and pull up my Steam Deck, and it runs fine. It runs pretty well.
Yeah, Steam Deck verified. This looks amazing.
It's 90 frames per second. It's a good time. I really like it. It's I've been enjoying it. So as I go through, I'll talk more about it as I go through it. I've only done maybe one level, which is kind of like the tutorial, but it's and it's kind of like it just shows you the different abilities that you have, like just jumping in and attacking and stuff like that. So I've now started to like fully get into the game where I can kind of explore and go into it more. So I played a little bit of that. I've also played, as Richard has alluded to here, a good bit of Neo Fantasia. This is the game that was originally Richard had played on Apple Arcade. I think the first part that came out from Sakaguchi, who was the original curator or the original father, they consider, of Final Fantasy, who's continued to make Final Fantasy games in different names. Last Story, Lost Odyssey. There's a third one in that mix somewhere, Blue Dragon. But
Oh yeah, Blue Dragon was a Miss Walker joint too.
so I've tried. I was like Richard. I tried playing this on Apple Arcade, and for whatever reason, it stuck with me. I think this was the most complete version of this
It
game.
didn't hit me on
was
Apple
one that
Arcade
just
either.
released. And I still hit that wall when I played Apple Arcade. So it's like that whole bit when you play Leo in the beginning and you're going through this metal factory. It doesn't give you much information, right? Other than he goes through and he has amnesia. At some point, you have these two robots next to him that are kind of directing him how to do battle in the game,
Mhm.
and you're trying to escape this factory. So I think that's probably for me. It was like the slow startup, which is I think I don't know, man. I think Final Fantasy IX does a great job of starting that game out,
Yeah.
like and getting sucked in so
It
quickly.
does. You care
Uh,
about the characters immediately.
I'm trying to think of something that was a slow start in any Final Fantasy, and I think it's probably the weakest part of this game. Is it is a slow start that can turn people off. So you play as a Leo who has lost his memory, and he goes to this factory and he fights this monster that's continuously chased him, and he gets like sent back to another town. And I forget the name of the town on top of my head, and he's lost his memory. So as he goes through and interacts with his town, they were telling him like, "Oh, you normally go to the shop to eat, uh, Amu rice and stuff like that." And he ends up meeting a shop owner who knows who he is, and he explains he lost his memory. And it's like, "Yeah, you came in here with a girl a couple days ago. Maybe see if she remembers anything." So basically, he goes into the old district of that town, meets Kina, who's living with an old man called Owen, which is kind of like her grandfather or father, by blood, but adoption type thing. And he's a fortune teller. So this whole bit where he's like, "Well, I'll read your fortune. Maybe that might jog your memory, but I want money." So she goes into this whole bit where he has to go get money. He doesn't have enough money to do it. So Kina takes it upon herself to kind of help out. And it's like, I know this place we can get money. It's an old forest. And she's kind of like very like the image of innocence. She has lived alone from the public for so long, and Owen had moved her into the town so she can interact with other people, because before she would only live into that village. And so it goes into this whole bit where he kind of remembers meeting her a little bit. Some of his memories coming back, like he had touched these flowers and got poisoned, and she kind of healed him, and he finds out that she has the ability to cast powerful magic. Thus, that was the reason why she was separate from everybody. Like Owen kind of hit her because she just magically appeared in this forest, and he kind of adopted her and took care of her there because he was trying to conceal all this power she had. She didn't want anybody to kind of like take her. So as you go through and you interact with Kina, you end up getting this battles, you end up getting this money. You go back to Owen, who begins to read his future to kind of see what's going on. And he gets like
He's a
these
fortune
images
teller.
and he sees like different parts of his life, and he kind of see this bits where his father was experimenting on something. Apparently, his mother died because of it. She was caught up in it. He didn't mean for it to happen. So he remembers that part about his parents. He still doesn't have his full memory back, and so it turns out the malevolent god Bam, who had taken over Owen at some point, was using this part to get a face mask from Leo, who was using for the fortune telling aspect to recall some of his past. And so, and the malevolent god Bam seems to be the villain of this whole story, because he looks like Sephiroth with like 6 arms. He's just a huge thing
Holy
with wings,
shit! Like a
floating up
Shiva
to the top.
style thing. Yeah.
And he calls Leo a marauder, and he came back to get what was his and took the mask back and tries to kill him. And Kina has this like huge spirit that's kind of protecting her, that kind of saved them all and pulled them all out. And so this is probably like the first 5 hours of this game. I'm a little bit further than that. I'm like at this point where I'm in the ship. I've got the third character, Cheryl, which happens to be a princess.
I didn't give it enough time then. This sounds good.
And she's kind of had her own run-in with Leo, and she's mad at him because he forgot, because apparently they had met at a ball, and he questioned her on her royalty. And he's like, "You know what? If you feel like you're not a royal, I'll meet you a week from today out in the public, just dress like a regular person so you can see how the public goes," right? She called it a date, so she packed up a lunch and waited for him, and he never showed. He stood her up. So she's still upset about that. And so she's mad at him. He doesn't remember anything of that. So it's like a lot of these characters all have these different interactions with Leo, because so far Leo seems to be the center point, the main protagonist of the story, because everybody he's meeting along the way either knows him or his father. He still doesn't know who he is and what he's done.
He's a hub.
So he's like, he's totally like, at this point, he's like, "Man, I did something like stupid like that." It's like, damn, I'm an asshole. He doesn't like, am I really like that? He's like, he doesn't know. So as you go through it, I mean, it's done pretty well. And I think, as I mentioned to you guys before, as I played this game, there's points in this game how the set is done by dioramas for this backgrounds, and that's all I'm going to talk about the story. And the dioramas, how it moves around and pivots, it reminds me so much of like Legend of Dragoon. As I go through, and I was like, man, this game overworld, I won't say the battle system, but the overworld, just how it moves, it reminds me so much of Legend of Dragoon, where it kind of like jerks your camera around to different scenes of the environment you're moving around.
Yeah, like a
You'll start
pre-rendered
here,
style, but
then it goes right,
complex.
then it goes over top on there, and it's like the dioramas are just like you said, it's like they're dioramas made of like clay or other stuff that are, instead of doing like pre-rendered backgrounds, is used as the backgrounds for this game. So it's very reminiscent of a PlayStation 1 game. It very, very much so. If you wanted to give somebody who's played PlayStation 1 RPGs and just hand them this game, they would fall right in line with it.
I read an interview that the diorama art style choice was like a cost-saving measure. Yeah. It kept them from having to do crazy. Right? Yeah, they kept them from having to do crazy assets, and it pays off. Like it fits in this game and the whole aesthetics of it.
It looks good. It's not disjointed. It doesn't look out of place, which I think looks great. So as you go through the game, the battle system is standard turn base. You have a standard attack, then you have a skill base, and as you level up, you get different skills. I have not gotten to. There's a this is very reminiscent of Final Fantasy X. There's a battle, like a skill grid that you get later on to get different skill levels. Grid. I haven't gotten to that part yet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's in there. The game is very good. The music, I wasn't very enthusiastic in the very beginning, like the original one when I played in Apple Arcade. It sounded like sci-fi-esque. It reminds me a lot like Umetsu did this one, and it's so much, as you go through it, Richard, it's crazy. Like so much of it is Final Fantasy. I can see the Final Fantasy 10, 9. There's some battle stuff in there that's
some good influences.
It's like a greatest collection of like the Final Fantasy stuff he's done before. Like I've got to the bit on the Urza ship where they have somebody singing, and it's like full voice singing, and it sounds like something that would have came out of Final Fantasy X.
Damn.
Like I'm just sitting here like, man, this is actually pretty good.
I need to see if it's on Apple Music or something.
It is on Apple.
It is on Apple Music. Awesome.
I was looking online to buy the CD. I was like, I'll buy this shit. It's actually pretty good. So it's pretty good.
It's always a good sign.
The other thing they kind of took away from another game they made is now this would be my last bit, is Lost Odyssey, where Lost Odyssey, where they go into the background of Cain,
who also had some sort of amnesia too, right?
As well, yeah. Well, I mean, he was immortal, so but they break down these storybooks, right? They have like these painted pictures, and they kind of like tell a story on screen, a la like a visual novel type stuff, where they don't use character models. They do this in this game too to fill up some of the backstory for Leo, Kina, and Cheryl, and they're all very interesting. And it's like you have a character, they just read it to you kind of like you're reading a storybook, and they change the images as it goes through, and it doesn't feel like it's disorienting. It doesn't feel like it's like, oh, this is out of place. It flows well with the story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it does a better job of building the player's interest in having just character models reiterate stuff, and in like a conversation, because this captures more outside of a conversation, because a conversation would leave out some context around the situation they're in. This one seems, when it tells the story in that storybook, it's like reading a book. It tells the environment, the stuff going on around it. It gives you better context of what's happening. It gives you deeper meaning on those stories. But yeah, I mean, this is like the first 8 hours. I've enjoyed it. I just, like I said, I'm on this ship called the Urza. We're about to crash land into Venice, which is a city of water, Mizu. We're going to the capital.
Sounds like Venice.
Because and we're going to the capital, which Leo learns there's a location there called the Toy Box, which used to belong to his father, which he's hoping that will re-jog his memory. So this whole journey so far is Leo trying to regain his memory. Kina, who has been secluded all her life, living with her grandfather, adopted grandfather,
in a bubble,
who's trying to figure out what her destiny is. And then I just met the third character, Cheryl, which is a princess of the kingdom, who is trying to find her place because she's left a sheltered life where the royalties kind of kept her in a bubble as well.
Kind of like Princess Garnet from 9.
It's like kind of like your greatest hits of stuff he's done before. It's really, really. As I gone through, the more and more I want to play. The last thing I leave on there, and I forgot to mention, was there's a Demijon battle. They call it like a dimension or dungeon battle. Okay. It's like a Demijon, and so basically, if you turn on the Demijon, it's like a device where it, instead of doing the random battles, it kind of cards those. So as I go through, you can have a max of 30 enemies. So instead of me doing a random battle when I can't do it, like I'm trying to progress through the story, go through a map of a dungeon, and it's like I don't want to get hit by random battles.
Yeah.
It kind of like, instead of doing the battle, it kind of puts it in the backlog. It's like a device that holds it for later. So the max I have is 30. So once I have the 30 enemies, you're forced to fight that battle. So once I usually fill up about 15, then I do a battle where it takes me to like a hidden dimension and I fight all 15 monsters at once, which is a lot of fun because it gives you different ways to play the game, because some of the attacks of some of these characters, like fire slash and stuff like that, you can hit stuff diagonally. So you can kind of like line up monsters and do multiple kills at the same time, which adds a difference that I have not played in a turn-based game in a while. So,
and it doesn't feel like it's disrespecting your time with just stacking them up for later. That's correct. Interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff on here that I've seen so far, and like I said, I think when I looked at it, I'm 10 hours in. I'm only 15% done with the story. It says according to the PS5 progress story. So it seems like it'll be a lengthy adventure so far. But yeah, it's Neo Fantasia and Bakuru are those games that I played this week.
It's Fantasian, right? Because I think I looked it up.
Fantasian.
They were saying it got a small print run, and it made me nervous.
The physical has only been released on Amazon.
Yeah.
And the Square Enix store. That's why it's been selling out. So.
Might have to get this sooner than later.
But that is it for me. I will pass this off to Brant to lead us to completion.
Bring us home, Brant. Brant's inspecting his dual pack still.
Actually, about my dual pack.
Tell us about your dual pack.
This is so freaking clean that the person that bought it left all of the material
codes
in here that originally came with the game.
Oh.
Never even scratched off the codes on the back. Which I can't use them because they code valid through 2011 through 2012. So
I would be shocked if those codes did not work. I would think they would work.
They were for some multiplayer skins anyway.
Those might not work.
Not really worried.
I would be shocked if those
may not work. Yeah.
On a personal note, I've been getting fooled a lot lately.
Bye.
I don't know if any of you have seen this around, where you see a kid maybe on a bus or in a restaurant, and you think that you see them gaming. They've got a little, rectangular item in their hand with a circle on the back, and you're like, oh, for a moment you think, oh, wow, that kid's playing a PSP, and then you realize, oh wait, though, that's just the iPhone 15 or 16.
Oh, and with the ESR case on the back, yeah,
little magnet.
Yeah, it does look like that.
You're like, damn, no, that's.
I thought this was a child of culture. You go over and smack it out of their hands. Pff, that's not a PSP.
Smack it out of their hands and give them a PSP. Do them a favor.
Thank me later, kid.
You're like the Sega Sunshiro guy. You're slapping the controls out of their hands, giving them Sega Saturn controllers. Thank me later, kids. Sega.
But no, I haven't really gotten a chance to play too much. I played a little bit of Tomba the other day, the remake, the what do they call it? Just the special edition.
That was purchased for me, and I still need to try it out.
Ta-da! PS5.
Yeah.
It's great to still boot up the PS5 and have that classic PS1.
Please don't get rid of it. Please don't get rid of it. Please keep it around. I'm so anxious every time I fire it up. Like, are you going to tell me there's a feature update and you're going to take it from me?
But to have that and then boot up into some Tomba, or the other game that I recently started jumping back into, which is Legends of Dragoon.
Which you fooled me on earlier with your image quality.
Legend of Dragoon is a game that I absolutely love. And I've gotten so close to beating a few times and then just drop it and never come back to it. And every time I come back to it, I'm like, well, if I'm going to start playing, let me just start over. Let me just start.
No clue why I'm here or where I got here from.
It's like a Skyrim playthrough, just always screw it. I'll just start over.
God bless
But this
Skyrim.
one I picked up because it's early enough in the game still. The last time I was playing it, I'd gone through, I'd gotten some of the main characters of the party, um, where you've rescued Shauna, your childhood friend. You've picked up a Knight of Basil by the name of Lavitz, and you have a mysterious warrior named Rose, who is kind of guiding you as she's a dragoon. You meet her, and then you awaken your dragoon powers, and then
That's where I left off my last playthrough, was right there. And that
the
town
majority
right after that.
the majority of your people just happen to get dragoon powers as you continue playing.
Mhm.
It's crazy how every member of your party happens to get those same powers.
Sound like
But
sound like Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. Now everybody's joining the Super Saiyan Club. Was it Krillin? Now everybody just can do it.
They all end up unlocking Super Saiyan powers.
So where I left off this last time, I'm trying to remember, we were going to this trading town of the town's called Lohan, and you have to go through this,
Is this a
like,
Dragon Ball thing
poisonous
again?
no.
Okay.
You have to go through this poisonous forest, and you wind up like falling down into this giant hole and fighting this spider, and Shauna actually gets poisoned. So you have to go find this mythical flower to help heal her, and that's where I left off last time.
That is where I'm at.
So you wind up finding the ghost of the old Silver Dragoon spirit, who says that the plant doesn't exist anymore, but you can have her Dragoon spirit and it should purify Shauna. So got that, took it back to Lohan, and sure enough, it purifies her and she awakens Dragoon power. Surprise, surprise.
Another one.
After which you do like a little there's like a little fighting tournament in town. The main character Dart meets an old friend, a martial arts master by the name of Haskell. And on the way out of town, because you're supposed to be leaving to help Lavitz put an end to the current war that is going on.
I love that world map
And
theme, by the way. I can hear it right now. It's so good.
I know. Another warrior of Basil like stumbles into town near death, and informs Lavitz that the king that they serve has been taken to the prison, and he gave himself up in exchange for the lives of everybody else in the kingdom. So of course y'all rush off there, and now I'm in the prison in order to rescue him.
Back in the prison.
There's a very
a lot of
there's
prisons
a very
in this
pivotal game. Well, you go back to that prison,
the same
because
one.
you have to rescue the King Albert
While it's still on disc one, while that content's still on the CD-ROM.
Yeah. King Albert, Prince Albert in a can. But there's a very pivotal moment that comes up here very soon after you rescue him. So, I just freaking love this game.
Love you
This
some
game
Legend of
looks so
Dragoon.
good, and it's such a good story. I've heard some other little plot twists that are there as you get to the end. I want to actually beat it 100%. I'd love to platinum this.
That's right. You're playing on the you're playing on the PS5 emulator.
PS5.
Yeah. You sent a screenshot, and I thought it was a CRT. I thought you were playing on that Toshiba back there. I was like, man, this thing looks clean. So this has rewind and all that stuff. So if you lose a battle, you can
Yep.
just it's
Rewind, save
convenient.
points.
Yeah, I was playing
So-
on PS2 via backwards compatibility last time. I think next time I give it a go, we'll be on the good old PS5.
How far have you gotten into this game?
Dart had
beaten
just
it before?
awakened as a dragoon, and I was in the next town. And then I think I had to leave
Ah.
that town. I think she got poisoned. But I had yet to use,
Okay.
I've never used the dragoon power in battle, if I remember right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So
I was loving my
cannot-
time with it too.
I cannot reveal any of the twists and turns to you then.
I mean, these aren't
Not for
me.
major beats, and I forget everything. I would forget
I mean,
that
it
if I played it in the
you
next
do- I
30
mean,
minutes.
Grant, talk about how you want to talk about
Yeah.
it. I've beaten this game back in '99 when it came out, so I'm like, there's no spoilers for me. So
But Cesar's
You-
still going to
the,
hear stuff
Final
and be
Fantasy
like, oh,
killer.
yeah, that's it.
everything,
It's good. It's
yeah,
a
I mean, I
great
don't-
RPG. They don't make them
the
like
ending
this,
was good.
except
I
for
still remember the shitty translations towards the end where I went to the fireplace and it was like just gibberish, like. Blah, blah, blah.
ooh, did they fix that in this this port?
I'm interested. I'm excited to when I get to that point on the. These,
I was going to say,
special
yeah,
drops.
I would hope so. I mean, there's ways. The best way I think to play it is on this emulator because you can
Yeah.
go through, you can change the filters, you can change your region, you can play every different version of that game if you want to. It's the rewind feature, like you said, save states whenever you want or need them.
Not having to get to a save point. That's huge.
But yeah, no, other than that, I actually did beat Indiana Jones.
Oh, he's
the
done
Great
with
Circle?
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Now into the
Think of that
Staff of
ending.
Kings.
The
Right.
final fight with the waving hair and all the wind and rain was pretty actually infuriating at first trying to get everything right. Because sometimes the last boss just does some bullshit every now and then that'll piss
I
you
don't
off.
think it's
You're like, hey,
spoilers, I
stop
mean-
that! Stop that!
I don't think it's spoilers. I mean, because Richard knows his boss, right? So I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think I've met that
He knows
character
it's-
yet, but I've seen him
I
in
mean, from
I've
what
seen him in
they've
trailers
shown-
and stuff.
and he's a good. The guy who plays boss, I truly hate that guy. So
yeah.
Yeah.
He's a piece of crap, man.
yeah.
He's terrible, but
Brand,
he makes a good villain.
It's a straight ass Indiana Jones game, right? Even with the final twist
Oh,
of
yeah.
what they discovered at the end.
Yeah.
You may, I won't tell Richard, but you may have discovered the Ark of the Covenant, but look what I discovered.
Yeah.
Damn. That big relevance wise?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Before the Holy Grail too. So it's up there on your list too, Brant?
It is a damn good game. Yes, it was on all of our lists
Yeah.
for the games from last
And
year.
I've played the least amount of it, and it was up there.
I will definitely be double dipping once I beat it.
I
I,
think we
I
all
went
are.
ahead and I saved the space on my Series X by going ahead and deleting it. I was like, I'm probably not going to go back in and revisit a bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
If I do, I'll wait until I buy it on PS5, and hopefully the physical version is all on that Ultra Blu-ray, and I'll really take the time on there. Yeah.
Platinum on PS5. I'm gonna platinum that game.
So
That'd be a nice upgrade for the PS5 version, along with some haptic feedback.
Mhm.
I could feel that whip and breaking wine
yeah.
bottles over people's heads.
As a controller, as that adaptive stick just kicks it, that trigger kicks it back to you.
Yeah.
Kicks your finger back.
Or
Damn,
they block
got some-
they block my wine bottle and I can't go all the way down with it.
It's got some heat on that.
But yes, some Indiana Jones done, some Tomba, and some Legends of
Legend of
Dragoon.
Dragoon.
That's what I played.
I'm going to touch back before we go. I know we want to play games. Friend of the show, Buish, got to hang out. And on a wild hair, a couple days before he was going to come over, I was like, have you ever heard of this game series? And he was like, no. And I know he grew up with a PS2 and an Xbox, so it was a little shocking. And I was like, I've been craving this. Let's fire this up. I want you to experience this. It is the Koei Tecmo and Omega Forces Dynasty Warrior series. And I was looking for, I have them spread out. It's so weird. Like I have 3 and 4. I have 3, 4, and 5 on PS2. I have 6 on 360. I have 7 on PS3. I just have them spread out all over the place. But we popped in some Dynasty Warriors 4 for some co-op butt rock greatness. Is Samurai Warriors good? This is the Chinese one. That is the Japanese.
Yeah, Samurai Warriors is very good.
Samurai Warriors is very good.
Yeah, if you want some alternate Dynasty Warriors, go Samurai Warriors. That one's more of a brand. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Samurai Warriors, I know it's got some historical stuff in there, but it seems more anime based, right? More.
I mean, this is the War of the Three Kingdoms, but it's obviously like super dramatized.
I think it feels like more like Samurai Warriors 5 feels like more of an anime-esque tongue-in-cheek humor stuff. Like,
okay.
It's more lighthearted. Let's put that. The lighthearted is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, lighthearted is more.
We failed the first mission like 3 times in a row. It had a fail state on the very first mission that you play. Like there's a leader that. So if you think about Dynasty Warriors, like it's your side against the other, and you move about the battlefield, and there's generals and things like that. There was a general on our side that could not die. But he didn't just hang back. It wasn't like defend this dude. He was fighting. So he would run out there and get murdered. And we were like, what's happening? So
you got to babysit him.
Yep. So we came up with different strategies, and like it was a lot of fun sitting there couch co-op, and it's not a real-time strategy game or anything, but we're trying to figure out like, okay, you go up here, take out this gate captain, and then meet me back in the middle of the castle. I'll run to this side, like just this basic stuff. And we had so much fun with it. It was a really good time. We beat the whole first act after figuring out that first map. So we worked all the way through that act 1. But I think we're going to get together and play some more Dynasty Warriors. Maybe stream it, possibly. Brandon's holding up Samurai Warriors 4 for the PlayStation Vita.
Samurai Warriors 4-2.
4-2. See, I think I've got a bunch of the Dynasty. I've got the first Dynasty Warriors on PlayStation, the 3D fighter. But I've got them spread out. I've got Gundam Dynasty Warriors for PS3. We've kicked around that one too.
It says ad hoc.
It has ad hoc support,
and it's PlayStation Vita compatible, TV compatible.
Probably $90 on Vita right now.
I was about to say I don't want to know how much this is shot up.
Yeah, we should stream it. We should come back over. We're gonna stream some Dynasty Warriors 4. I even looked at like if all 4 of us were to play this, that Mystic Heroes that came out for PS2 and GameCube. But as I was looking at it, I was like, man, this kind of sucks. Cesar laughed. It looks like shit.
I mean, it would be very slow going because that's more of a traditional.
It's not rendering anything. Like when I looked on screen, I was like, man, this looks boring. Like when you split it 4 ways, the GameCube and PS2 just can't keep up with that stuff. This is the right amount of enemies. Like, so I turned Buish onto this series, and he downloaded the Dynasty Warriors Origin demo for his Series X. And he's like, there's so much going on, and there's so many people. He can't tell like who's on his side and who's not. He says just a whole lot more going on. And that game is not co-op. I did look into that new Dynasty Warriors Origin. It's not co-op, either couch co-op or online, which the Dynasty Warriors fandom is not super pleased with that. This is my best memories of it, is playing couch co-op with my friend Andy back in the day.
Yeah.
This was one of the first PS2 games he had.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, I mean, Dynasty Warriors 9 was kind of an oddball too, as well, right? So It seems like they're trying different things, and I don't know. Hopefully this one takes off,
and they do this style back with a couch.
You know, more of the ad co-op and stuff like that. Add that stuff in there. You know, this is kind of like a new gen way of playing it. Supposedly is what they're saying.
From my research of these major ones, 3, 4, 6, and 8 are considered. Was it 8, or people poo-pooing on 8? 3, 4, 6, and 8 are considered the preferred ones to play, and I've got all those in some capacity. So we may end up rigging up a stream on the PS2 over here and see how that goes. Some
Richard, I see 2 listings for this Dynasty Warriors 4-2.
Yeah.
On eBay.
200.
This is apparently. Golly, let me turn that down. This is apparently Asia. An Asia release.
Okay.
For this game, so it does have English.
Okay.
But your guesses. Only 2 listings that I've seen so far.
200.
And it says rare on one of them.
Of course,
very rare.
Of course.
Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors? Which one is it?
Samurai Warriors
4-2. He said.
Okay.
42. I heard 42.
One listing is on the lower end is 179.99.
Sure.
The other one that says Asian English version very rare is $219.99.
Yes, go ahead. I'll never be playing this through legitimate means. It's not in the cards for me. All right, is that it for our show? We're gonna move on to some Halo Infinite. Is that the play?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Whatever sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this week, and we will catch you in a little while playing Halo Infinite, but next week for our next NOFODcast recording. Bye.
See you.